Nearly 60 world leaders, including presidents of the US, Afghanistan and Pakistan, are in Chicago for the key NATO summit that began yesterday. The summit is aimed at charting out a roadmap of international support to Kabul and prepare a blueprint for a joint exit strategy. The two-day NATO summit, first on the US soil in more than a decade, is significant as President Barack Obama has announced that all combat operations led by US forces will cease in the summer of 2013 and the NATO forces would move to a support role.
Against the dramatic backdrop of Soldier Field, a memorial to those who gave their lives in combat, NATO leaders gathered for the traditional family photo, a souvenir of Chicago 2012. But, like any family gathering, things rarely go as smoothly as planned. Different members want different things. Here it's France that wants to pull its combat troops out of Afghanistan sooner than NATO would like, putting France's new leader, François Hollande, on a collision course with the rest, though most were keen to play it down.
It's disappointing that the French have chosen to take their combat troops out by the end of this year, but very reassuring that they've agreed that they will have a continued presence, a continued involvement in the ISAF mission.
Other reassurances were given by President Obama to President Karzai of Afghanistan, even as NATO troops begin to leave. Some NATO members are proving slow to split the bill to pay for Afghan forces in the future, but there are hopes that will be agreed on here today. What almost certainly won't be is a deal with the neighbours, Pakistan, on reopening its borders to NATO convoys, despite the Pakistani president being here. Outside the summit, demonstrators expressed their frustration with a war that's lasted more than a decade and cost billions, while other spending is being cut back. It was a mostly peaceful protest that turned violent only later on. And from behind the tight security inside the summit came a message in return that for the West at least, the fighting and the dying is coming to an end.
Pakistan's Zardari was here at the summit. He will not be meeting with the president because officials on either side were not able to come to terms on the price. There is a dollar figure they are negotiating for U.S. to get access to these supply routes, and the Pakistani price was simply too high. So these negotiations are going to continue in the region and in Pakistan and with U.S. officials there and Pakistani officials there. But both sides are expressing optimism that this will get worked out in time, but not in time for this to be announced before the end of this conference.
We recognize the hardship that the Afghan people have been through during these many years of war. Both of us recognize that we still have a lot of work to do, and there will be great challenges ahead. The loss of life continues in Afghanistan. There will be hard days ahead. But we're confident that we are on the right track, and what this NATO summit reflects is that the world is behind the strategy that we've laid out. The Afghan war, as we understand it, is over, but our commitment to friendship and partnership with Afghanistan continues.
We are in the process of gradually handing over lead responsibility to the Afghans, and as we do that, the role of our troops can gradually change from combat to support, and the number of our troops can also gradually be reduced. But all that will take place in a coordinated manner and based on consultations within our alliance. So I feel confident that we will maintain solidarity within our coalition.